Attorney Liz Stapleton from elizabethstapleton.com, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the Americans with Disabilities Act and what it means for bloggers. Before I get started, I do want to note that the information provided in this video is meant only for informational and educational purposes. It's not legal advice. If you have questions, you should contact an attorney in your area to discuss the specifics of your situation. Okay, so an often overlooked law when it comes to blogging is the Americans with Disabilities Act. The Americans with Disability Act, also known as the ADA, maybe isn't something you think about when it comes to blogging, but helping to make your site as accessible to as many people as possible is not only smart, but may eventually be required as laws change and are updated. While the waters are a little bit murky right now as to who is required to comply with the ADA does provide an avenue for civil suits, meaning individuals can sue a website owner for failing to be accessible. For that reason, it's a good idea to try and make your site as user-friendly as possible, including to those users who might be using a screen reader or access it a little bit differently. Now, you're probably wondering what it means for a site to be ADA accessible. For the most part, it means making sure your content is accessible in multiple ways. For example, if you have a video, ensuring there are captions or a transcript available. Another example, which is discussed a lot in blogging circles, is making sure to include the proper alt text on images. For a lot of years, bloggers would use the alt text section in the image settings as a description for Pinterest. However, that is the wrong way to use the alt text images. The purpose of the alt text is to provide those using screen readers, for example, someone who is blind, some context as to what the image is about. While the alt text is probably something that applies to almost all bloggers, having an accessible website is going to really depend on the kind of content is on your blog. Another thing to keep in mind when structuring your content is to make sure that you're structuring it with proper headings. It not only helps search engines to understand your content, but also those people who can't read your content in the traditional way to understand the context. Don't use headings for the way they look stylistically. I know I was guilty of this in my super early blogging days, but I've since learned, and a lot of times you can actually edit what your headings look like stylistically, so if you do want them to look a certain way, you can go into your theme customization and tweak what headings look like. But yeah, so hopefully with that information, it gives you a better idea of what you need to do to be ADA accessible. Like I said, it's not technically required by law for private website owners to comply. However, it doesn't mean you couldn't get sued for it anyway by someone, just an individual who's having trouble accessing your site. So it's always smart to just try to make things as accessible to as many people as possible. And you know, long term, it's only going to help you.